Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for coming to this evening's Bhagavad-Gita class. I would like to, first of all, offer all my respectful obeisance to each and every one of you. And definitely not qualified to sit here, but because I'll be going to America soon, I have a chance to serve Vrindavan Dham through this Bhagavad-Gita class, so I'm very happy to do this. And I would like to dedicate this Bhagavad-Gita class to Mother Parvati, because when I first came to Vrindavan, so my first day in Vrindavan, I was sitting in the Govindas, and she came up to me and she said, "Hey, you want to give Bhagavad-Gita class?" I said, "Sure, why not?" She goes, "Okay, what's your name?" And I was uninitiated. I said, "My name is Bhakti David." She goes, "Okay, we'll call you Bhakti David." I said, "Okay, fine." Then next thing, Bhuvaneshwar said, "You can't give class, you're not initiated." Then Mother Parvati talked to Panchagora and they allowed me to give class. So now that I'm able to give class, the other Mataji, what's her name? She asked me to give class. So because of Mother Parvati asking me, now I'm able to give class. So I'm very fortunate and grateful to her. So, she's watching, and so Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to Mother Parvati and all people on YouTube. Okay, let's get to we're now in chapter 12, text 19, devotional service. It's 2 slokas. Samashastu cha mitram cha tata manapamanyaho Tito sukha dukeshu samasanga virajataha Tulyanida sutit manuri Santuyena kanichatit Anikichita matir Bhakti mami priyo naha Om Gandha Timanandasha Ganangana Sakyala Chakchudradem Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhaste Swapakam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tata Disapkatkam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Pakalamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupa Sagatam Sagana Raghudatata Sajivam Sadvaitam Savapat Parajam Tatata Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sagana Lalita Shiva Sakram Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kanchara Gaurangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Mani Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vashta Viva Sindhu Bhajevata Patitanam Bhavandyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I forgot, I didn't even start the sloka and the purport. Sorry. I'm unexperienced. Okay. I can't believe I forgot, sorry. Okay, we'll go word for word. Samaha, equal. Shastu, to an enemy. Cha, also. Mitri, to a friend. Cha, also. Tata, so. Mana, in honor. Apamanyaho, and dishonor. Sita, in cold. Suna, heat. Sukha, happiness. Dukeshu, and distress. Sama, equipoise. Sangha virajataha, free from all association. Tulya, equal. Nida, in defamation. Sutihi, and repute. Manohi, silent. Santusha, satisfied. Yena kinechit, with anything. Anikata, having no residence. Stiraha, fixed. Mati, determination. Bhaktimam, engaged in devotion. Me, to me. Priyaha, dear. Nara, a man. Translation purported by His Divine Grace Lacy Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equal pose in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied within him, who doesn't care for any residency, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. Prabhupada says in his purport, a devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress and or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials. And the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not. But he is satisfied. He does not care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, or may sometimes live in a very palatable building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Hari apakya kutapaha gunaha. One who is not a devotee has no good qualifications. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extravagantly endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically help develop them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. First, I want to apologize for not reading the translation and the purport. I've been reading this sloka over and over again. I'm thinking you guys have heard it, so please forgive me. Okay, so now Krishna is telling Arjuna the wonderful qualities that a devotee has. In the Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 12, there's a sloka, and it says, Yasit Bhakti Bhagavat Kichina Sarva Guna Ta Samaste Suya Harya Bhaktiku Manu Guna Matyoya Devi Pari. The translation is, all the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation become manifested in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he's adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor for maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities of such a man? So we hear a lot of times Prabhupada says that if you're not a devotee of Krishna, you have no good qualities. A lot of times when I go on book distribution, I see somebody coming that they're very beautiful, or they look very smart, or they're dressed very well, or they have some material qualities. I said, that guy's going to take a book. I know that guy's going to take a book. And he's just like the same opposite, you know? You really figure out that these material qualities that we have, if they're not used properly for Krishna, what good are they? Like for instance, my mother is a little wealthy, so she gives me money. So if I don't use that in Krishna's service, then me and my mother are doomed to hell. So you can use those things properly or improperly in spiritual life. So, but you just have to learn how to use those things. So there's so many things that we can digest here about this sloka here. I wrote a notes, and let's go back to the sloka. Let's start from the beginning. One who is equal to friends and enemies. So a devotee sees everybody equally. He treats everybody equally because he has Krishna in his heart. Chapter 9, text 22. Anyas chinana mano ye gina parampasti testanita upakteshu yogkale vrasaha. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my triumphal form, so then I care what they lack and what they have. So Krishna helps us in this devotional service when we surrender to Him. And also, Krishna also says later on in the Bhagavad-Gita that the learned wise man sees a chandala, dog eater, and an elephant equally. So it doesn't matter who a devotee of Krishna is looking at, that he sees Krishna in everybody's heart. This applies to all of you because I'm not a devotee. Anyways, you guys can understand that Krishna is in everybody's heart. So I'm trying to help myself by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. This is the best method for chanting for loving God is the Maha Mantra. But we have to learn how to preach to others. Like I said, my visa is finished, so I have to go soon to America. So I'll have a chance to do book distribution. So I'll take many pictures and photos for you guys and bring them to you to see all the wonderful people that I distribute books to in Harinam. So Vrindavan is a place for bhajan. The holy name is here, but when we go outside, we have to preach to others because people think, well, these crazy guys dress in women's clothes and bald-headed, and what are they doing? So we have to explain to them, give them the books. It's very important. Okay, so we'll go back to the sloka. One who is equal pose in honor and dishonor. A lot of the times, we are very happy when people say, oh, Prabhu, you gave such a nice class, or Prabhu, you did so nice. But when they say, hey, Prabhu, you don't know how to pronounce the sloka properly, you get offended. So we have to learn how to, whatever happens, whether you're praised or you have some constructive criticism, we have to be fixed on our determination for Krishna, because that's the most important thing. Because sometimes in spiritual life, you'll have good things, and sometimes you'll have bad things. Most times in this world is bad things. But when associated with devotees, living in the Dham, chanting Hare Krishna, and worshipping the deity, then it's a lot easier to practice spiritual life. But by the end of the day, when we rest our head on the pillow, it comes down to our devotion to Krishna. And that's what we have to do, develop relationships with devotees. The next thing Krishna says is heat and cold. I think everybody living in Vrindavan knows about heat and cold. So it's very, we don't leave Vrindavan because we like the mercy of Srimati Radharani and Prabhupada. So we stay in the summer times because it's hot, and the winter times it's cold. So we have tolerance to these things. The next one is happiness and distress. A lot of the times we become happy, then we want to extend our devotional service. Sometimes when we're down, we don't want to, but we have to push forward our devotional line. Fame and infamy, that's kind of the same thing, that somebody is you're praised, then you become happy. So what it really comes down to is that it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, it doesn't matter what happens, that we have to always think of Krishna. So that's the main thing that I would like to preach to myself and to everybody else, is that the most important thing is our devotional service to Lord Shri Krishna. Excuse me. And then the next one is who is always free from contaminated association. So I kind of thought a little bit about, okay, contaminating association. So we have to learn of what our desire is and what we're doing in our spiritual life in the past, present, and in the future. So let's say, for example, that I'm going out to do Harinam Sankirtan. That is a devotional thing. But if I'm going out to do some nonsense, then I will associate with bad people. So the two go hand to hand, like one hand washes the other. What I'm trying to say is that we have to, well, of course, association is probably the most important thing in spiritual life, but also our desires too. Because if you have a desire to serve Krishna, naturally you're going to be with other Hare Krishna devotees. But if your desire is not to, it's very simple process. If you desire not to serve Krishna, then in the future you will not really be with devotees. So, that's always free from contaminant association. So the more and more you progress in the spiritual life, and the more you make advancement in spiritual life, the more and more you'll get good association, and the more you help others. So that's kind of our what's the word I can use, it's like a gauge or like a meter. Let's say a meter. Like somebody's you test the temperature of how cold it is. What is the birds of a feather flock together? Our association. If we're always in good association, then we're safe. But if we're in bad association, we have to say, well, what's going on? And the only reason we should be with bad association is for preaching. I think that's the only thing I can think of. Of course, I have to get on a plane. I have to go to Los Angeles, but that's a different story, And I'll just sit there and chant Hare Krishna. And if somebody wants to talk to me, then I'll speak to them. But usually, I don't really, want to present myself too much until they ask questions. So that's that. The next one is always silent. So Prabhupada says in the purport, he says, and this is a very good one too. He says, let's see, silence. Silent. He says silence. What does silence mean? Silent means not to speak, but silent means one will not speak nonsense. One should speak only for essentials. It also should speak for the devotees, to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. Let's say sometimes we're chanting Hare Krishna, or we're doing some service, and then we hear some other devotees, or even karmis, anybody saying some other things that's not about Krishna. Your mind gets agitated because it's not Loka Pranadana Harinam Sankirtan. It's not from the spiritual world. It's not about Krishna. So the sound, the sabda, like in the Ishopanishad, you hear that's the transcendental sound vibration. So when you're engaged in doing service for Krishna and you hear some mundane sound, then you're like, you get like, I don't want to hear that. But we should always use our tongue to chant Hare Krishna and to take prasada and to always glorify the names of Krishna. It's very important to always glorify Krishna. So the next thing it says, who does not care for any residency. And then Prabhupada says in the purport, it talks kind of like the 6 Goswamis, sometimes live underneath a tree or live in a very nice place. For me, I live in the Brahmacharya ashram, so it's not too opulent and it's not too poor. So it's kind of like in between. As devotees of Krishna, we should not be, too poverty, this is my opinion, and not to be too opulent. Just what the bare necessities, which we need. And I want to glorify one devotee at this point. I don't know if anybody here knows Bhakti Daniel. He has a beard, and he broke his leg recently. And this is a very glorious. He's now in Hindi class. I told him to come here because I was going to praise him. But I want to praise him because he comes every day to the full morning program and does kirtan with our, because I'm in the 24-hour department. He comes in the kirtan, and he doesn't have a place to stay. He stays in a tent next to the Goshala. And I said, Prabhu, I've known him for years. I said, Prabhu, why don't you tell Janarda Maharaj or something to get you a place to stay, And he said, no, I'm happy. I'm happy staying in the tent. And he's been doing that. And he comes to I can never do that. So my hat is off to him, and I wanted to say, Bhakti Daniel Ki Jai, because he's very nice to it. For doing it consecutively, without it, that's And that's the exact purport for one who doesn't care for hidden residency, and that's him. So, and the next one is one who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very different. Who is fixed in knowledge? And what is fixed in knowledge? Fixed in knowledge means to love Krishna, because that's the main goal of life, is to have Krishna prema, to always love Krishna. We can't get it automatically. We can't love Krishna automatically. We have to go gradually, step by step. But to be engaged in Harinam Sankirtan books and reading books, that is devotional knowledge. There is one story I would like to tell about. There is one guru, and this pertains to the sloka. It says, "Who is equal in happiness and stress." There was one guru. He told the disciples, "Come here and come here," and he gave a mango to his disciples, about 10 disciples. He says, "I have an instruction for you. I want you guys to go into the forest and find some place where no one can see you, and then eat the mango, and then come back and report to me." He said, "Okay, fine." So they all went into a secluded place, and they ate the mango, and they reported back. And then there was one devotee, Krishnadas, reported. He says, "So Krishnadas, did you eat the mango in a secluded place for those?" He says, "Gurudev, I went everywhere, and there's no other place. Krishna is looking at me everywhere I go. There's no other place I can find where Krishna is not looking at me. He's looking at me everywhere, so I couldn't eat the mango. Here's the mango." And so he said, "Yes, you have realized exactly what I was talking about." So similarly, that Krishna is looking at all our actions. We all know this, but Krishna is looking at our actions when we're alone or when we're doing something. So he rewards us accordingly. So I pray to all of you and to Krishna and to Vrindavan Dham that when I go to Los Angeles, California, it's a big thing for me because I don't like to go there, but I have to because my visa is finished. So I'm praying that I move forward my spiritual life there, because I used to have bad habits there. So I'm praying to Krishna that I do good there. So, another thing that I would like to talk about is that Lord Krishna came here 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he had a brother, and his brother was Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu, he dressed himself very nice with very nice ornaments, very beautiful gems, very opulent. And he went to his stepfather's house, Hariya Pandit, and he stayed there. And there was one Brahmin, and he was very wealthy. And he wanted to steal Nityananda Prabhu's garments and clothes. So he was a dacoit, and he got a gang of friends together. And he got his gang of friends together and said, "Hey, look, there's this one very exalted personality named Nityananda Ram. And I want to go and steal all his clothes and his money. He's very much rich." And they said, "Okay, fine, we will devise a plan to do that." Okay. And this Brahmin, he was from a very respectable family, and he had lots of money, lots of wealth. So he brought his whole entourage, and they went to where Nityananda Prabhu was staying, and Nityananda Prabhu was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They were having kirtan. And this one Brahmin, he went to a place. It was like a pond, and they says, well, he got one of his messengers. Well, what is Nityananda Prabhu doing? He says, oh, they're taking prasadam, and they're doing Harinam Sankirtan. Well, let's stay here tonight, and then when they're sleeping, we can go there, and then we'll take all their money, and we'll take everything they have. And they said, okay, fine, that's a cool deal. We'll do that. So when they went to this place, they fell asleep. The dacoits fell asleep. And they woke up and they started yelling at Krishna, "Hey man, why didn't you wake me up?" But this is what demons do. When demons do something wrong, they blame each other. So they were all fighting and arguing and fighting. They said, "Well, come on now, we gotta get closer." So they started to get closer, and as they were walking towards where Nityananda Prabhu was staying, they were getting torn apart by these thorn bushes. And they fell into this lake that had these leeches, and they were getting bit by scorpions and snakes, and they were getting burnt, they were getting very injured. And they were and this one brahmana, he was like screaming in excruciating pain. He was like, "Ah!" Like Krishna was really giving him mercy, and he was like, "Ah!" So then he went to Nityananda Prabhu and he begged Dandavats, he begged his forgiveness. He goes, Nityananda Prabhu, please help me, please, I came here and I saw how opulent you were, and because my parents are rich, my parents are very rich, I became degraded by wealth. And I wanted more and more wealth. I was very greedy. I wanted more and more riches. So I wanted to take your riches. But now that I know that this won't bring me any happiness. And please, I'm yours today. Devotees say that if you say to Lord Ramachandra that today I am yours, he will accept you. He said, I would even accept Ravana if Ravana surrendered to him. So Nityananda Prabhu, he blessed him and says, yes. And he gave him some instruction. He said, from today now, give up all your sinful activities and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And whoever you see, you tell them the glories about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you preach the message of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then this Brahmin, he started to jump and dance in ecstasy. Haribo, Haribo! He started to chant and dance, and he got converted into a devotee of Krishna by the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So also we have to go through purifications for ourselves to say Krishna. I don't want to go back into any more contaminated association. Krishna, I want to be part of Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world and go back to you and don't suffer anymore. So I want to be part of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan Lila. So we have 5 minutes. No, not even that much. Is there any questions? No? I guess we can stop if you want. We have a couple more minutes. I can look at my notes, see if there's any other things I wrote. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Anyways, just you guys know better than me. Hare Krishna, I'll go to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.